Moving on to animal tissues. Animal tissues are of 4 types. One is epithelial tissue, one is muscle tissue, nervous tissue and connective tissue. What is the epithelial tissue? Epithelial tissue consists of epithelial cells, and these cells actually line the surface of the body or the surface of the body cavities or the inner lining of the skin. So, those are the epithelial tissues. Next is the muscle tissue. Muscle tissue is made of muscle fibers which are involved in continuous contraction and relaxation so as to improve or so as to enhance the movement of an individual. The next is the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue, as it is present in brain, it consists of those cells and those projections. These are the dendrites, which are the projections from the cell body of a neuron, and they help in transmitting electrical signal from one part to another, from a fingertip to brain, or whenever we touch any hot substance or whenever we get any other stimuli. So, these nerve cells, they get stimulated, they get activated, and they transmit this signal in the form of electrical signals. So, that is why this contraction and this relaxation of nervous cells is also under the guidance of a nervous tissue. The next tissue is the connective tissue. Connective tissue is further of various types, like blood is one of the connective tissue. The blood cells, it is a connective tissue. Cartilage is a connective tissue. Bone is a connective tissue. Bone is a hard porous structure, but this cartilage is a non-porous structure. One is the loose connective tissue, which is another type of connective tissue. The next, we are moving on to each and every detail of each and every tissue. First is the epithelial tissue. As I already told you, epithelial tissue is just a covering of skin or a covering of the bodily organs or even the covering of body cavities. And this is epithelial tissue is consisting of a tightly joined or a tightly packed cells. You can see that these cells are tightly packed, and these cells, they do not have any intercellular spaces between them. So, this is a characteristic feature of an epithelial tissue. One side of this epithelial tissue is exposed to the basement membrane. Like this is a basement membrane and here are the epithelial cells. One side of these cells will be exposed to basement membrane and other side will be exposed to the extracellular matrix. And this epithelial tissue, it covers the outside of the body and it lines the bodily cavities or bodily organs. Also, this epithelial tissue, it provides a insulation or it provides a barrier against mechanical injury or other microorganisms that may enter our body. It also provides a surface so that it can help in absorption, like ciliated epithelium, it helps in absorption. Next is the types of epithelial tissue. The first type is a squamous epithelium. This is a simple squamous epithelium and a stratified squamous epithelium. I must tell you, the simple squamous epithelium, as it is seen, it consists of irregular shaped, simple one layer of cells, and this one layer of cells is present underneath our skin. So, this is a simple squamous epithelium. Moving on to stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium, it consists of various layers of simple squamous epithelium that have formed a stack of cells, and this stack of cell is known as stratified squamous epithelium. It is also present in cornea and the iris of the eye. The next is the cuboidal epithelium. Cuboidal epithelium, it is present in the tubules of the kidney or in the tubules or in the salivary glands. So, this is a cuboidal epithelium. Next is the columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium, it consists of elongated, like stratified and simple. Simple, it consists of elongated cells and which are tall elongation. Stratified columnar is also a tall elongated structure, and these cells, they are present in the intestinal layer or in the lining of the stomach. Ciliated columnar epithelium is that epithelium which consists of a cilia. Cilia is a projection which protrudes out from a cell, and this cilia, it helps in absorption and it washes or it clears the fluid in and out of the cell. The next is the connective tissue. I have already told the connective tissue, one of the muscular tissue, it provides a framework, like it connects one organ to another or it connects tissue to tissue. So, this is a connective tissue. Its function is to provide support to all the tissues. So, it helps in binding of one tissue to another and one organ to another, and hence providing the support. It consists of large amount of extracellular matrix, but it has fewer cells. So, this is all about connective tissue. I will tell you all the types of connective tissue. One is the adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is that tissue which lines the fat cells. So fat cells consist of adipose tissue and they are helped in storage of fat, and this adipose tissue is present beneath the skin, and this adipose tissue is also involved in providing thermal insulation. So this is one of the type of connective tissue. Blood is another connective tissue I have already discussed. Cartilage, which is a non-porous structure, it is also a connective tissue, but it consists of dead cells. It do not have any blood supply or any nerves. But if you talk about bone, it is a porous structure. It has a huge, or it has a very prominent or great supply of blood and nerves. So next is the fibrous connective tissue and loose connective tissue, which is present in connecting one tissue to another tissue. So this is all about connective tissue. So these are the various connective tissues that I have already discussed. Adipose tissue, I have already told you that it provides thermal insulation, or it provides a padding like structure. Padding is a thermal insulation which is present beneath the skin, and storage, it helps in storage of fat. So this is adipose tissue. Blood, again blood is a connective tissue, and cartilage is a connective tissue, which are fibrous connective tissue, loose connective tissue and bones. So these are various types of connective tissue that are present in the body. The next is the muscle tissue. Muscle tissue, it helps in movement of individual. How it helps in movement? By continuous contraction and relaxation of various muscle fibers. So what does this muscle fibers or this muscle tissue do? Actually muscle fibers, they are of two types, basically of two types, striated and unstriated, which we call voluntary and involuntary types. What are these skeletal muscles? Let me talk about the skeletal muscles. I call that skeletal muscles are striated muscle fibers, and they are voluntary. That means these skeletal muscles are moving according to the will of an organism. Suppose we want to lift something, or we want to run, we want to move. That is that is not against our will, that is in favor of our will. That if we want to lift something, yes, we are ready to will. It is ready. It is not against our will. It is in favor of our will. We want to pick something or we want to move. So this is a skeletal muscle which is not against the will of an organism. Like it also consists of unbranched fibers, and it is striated, that is it consists of some striations. So that's why we call it skeletal muscle. Whereas smooth muscles, they are spindle shaped, they have a spindle shaped structure, and they are unstriated, they do not have any striations, and these smooth muscles, they are present in arteries, bladder, like the contraction and relaxation of the various uterine muscles, which is not under the will of an organism. That's why we call it involuntary muscles, because we cannot control the contraction. The food, it is passing through esophagus, the various contractions of small intestine and stomach, they help in eating the food, and that's why these movements are not under the will of organism. That's why we call these movements as involuntary, and the cells that are involved in these involuntary movements are smooth muscle fibers or smooth muscle cells. The last one are cardiac muscle cells. These are the specific type of cells which are only present in heart and not any other tissue. These are branched. Unlike them, they are branch fibers, they are striated and present only in heart. So this is what a muscle tissue consists of. Next is the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue means to have a control of an organism. This is a nervous tissue. As we can see, this is a basic structural and functional unit of a nervous system, which we call a neuron. Neuron is involved in supplying or in transmitting electrical signal from one part of body to another. This complete neuron, which is a structural unit of a nervous system, it consists of a cell body. This cell body consists of this nucleus, which is a carrion. This is a nucleus, and the fluid like structure is neuroplasm. Inside the neuroplasm you have some granules which we call nasal granules, and then these are some projections which arise from the cell body, and we call these projections as dendrites. So these dendrites are involved in collecting and transmitting the electrical signals. So this a long projection, another long projection which is apart from the dendrites. Dendrites are the small projections, and axon is a long projection which is extended from the cell body of neuron. We call it axon, which is also lined by some material, or this is exoplasm, and this is neuroplasm, which is a fluid like structure in which these nasal granules are actually floating. So this is all about nervous tissue, and nervous tissue, connective tissue, epithelial tissue, muscle tissue. So all are these types of animal tissues.